Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. The post on your screen right here comes from a very popular chart analyst named Bark, and he shared this with his 221,000 followers on X just yesterday, and he wrote the following. I can't stop thinking about XRP. It's the biggest opportunity of our lifetime. Now, that absolutely resonated with me. I've long said that just the advent of crypto, broadly speaking, is a once in a species event, not a once in a generation event. We're talking about the creation of a brand new asset class. That hasn't happened in hundreds of years. So a brand new asset class from inception, when it was worth $0 to today, being worth a little less than $3.7 trillion. It could not be more obvious, given that obviously crypto is here to stay. If you just keep voting, when I say voting, meaning purchasing, the coins that the market deems to be the most valuable, if you will, just have broad exposure in the asset class. That's how you win. It's the same as investing in the stock market. What do? Do you literally spend time all day, every day, 365, 24/7, 365, researching all the specifics of every single business that you could actually purchase stock in on the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ? Are you doing that? No, you're not. What you're doing is you're getting broad exposure, and the vast majority of you that are in the stock market, I'm willing to bet that you have ETFs that track the S&P 500. So that way you get exposure to 500 different companies. You're not vetting any of them. You're just getting the exposure, because the fact that they're in the top 500, that means that everybody that's investing, the people that actually have done the work, they put their money where they think it makes the most sense. And if you think you're going to out-research them and beat them, you are wrong, and that's not going to happen. You're not going to beat that. That would be exceedingly rare. And even if you did for a short period of time, it's not going to persist. And so that's why it's the same with crypto. Just investing in the coins, the larger coins, like top 10, top 20, whatever it may be. It's easy. I understand it's easier if you just purchase an ETF, but those will come for crypto. You're going to have tons of multi-coin ETFs in the future. We're not quite there yet. So you'll be able to do the same thing in crypto. But what I'm saying is, in the meantime, if you just make your own effectively make your own little index, you can do the same thing. You can choose to do that. And then XRP is an obvious part of it. And so it's always been clear to me, like, XRP is an early winner in the crypto space. It is here to stay. And I'm not going to mess this up. This is a once in a species opportunity so far as I'm concerned. And so, yeah, we're talking about an asset class, like I said, worth almost $3.7 trillion right now. In the years to come, it's going to be worth in excess of $100 trillion. So even just from here, even if you feel like you're late and you just jumped in, you're not late. You're freaking early. Almost no humans on the planet have ever even owned a cryptocurrency, and certainly not XRP. Way less than 1% of humans have ever owned XRP. So if you've even heard of XRP, you're ahead of the curve, man. Like you're absolutely ahead. If you own XRP in 2025, you're beating almost every single human on the planet right now. And given the excitement we're in right now, like, I can't stop thinking about XRP. I'm thinking about it constantly, because it's such a huge part of my life now, and it's a huge part of my net worth, and it's just going to get more extreme. I firmly believe that. So this is why I keep saying, like, after I buy cryptocurrencies, I do nothing. This is the reason. I don't want to screw this up. I don't think I'm smarter than everyone else. I don't think that I know better, and if I just tinker with my portfolio enough, it's going to turn out even better than if I do nothing. That's not true. You are your own worst enemy when it comes to investing. I'm telling you, having broad exposure and being willing to hold however long it takes, that's the answer. Absolutely. And that's why there are so many people that are going to get filthy rich off of XRP. Now, as I record this video, it is 2:23 a.m. Central Time, which is my time zone. So it's now Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. XRP is $2.93, so still a little bit of a sideways price action. Your Bitcoin at $118,254 here. Here's a post from chart analyst Kalo. He said, "You are about to enter the most abundant, prosperous, opportunity-filled phase of your life. Believe in the golden bull run." And so he can see this too. He's one of the more popular analysts out there in crypto, 708,000 followers. And he's not always posting like that, but it's just so obviously the case. We are in that moment where this whole thing's going to take off. And I just happen to personally believe that XRP is going to be either the top performer out of the top 100 coins, which it is right now since the election anyway. It's going to either be at number one or very close to the top by the time the cycle's over if you're looking at the top 100 coins. Because it's been so artificially suppressed, and it's one of the most useful coins in existence, and the market is playing catch up. And I don't believe that if you jump into crypto, 10, 15, 20 years from now, you're not going to have the same opportunity to get life-changing wealth at this speed because there will be too much money in it. Everybody will agree that crypto makes sense. It's obviously here to stay. And so I'm not saying there won't be opportunity. I'm saying it will be diminished substantially compared to the opportunity right now. The fact that you can just like wait, like on accident, you could quadruple your net worth from this point. That's how simple it is. If history is to rhyme with itself, even just that, do you think you're going to have that opportunity 10, 15, 20 years from now? I just don't think so. And which isn't to say there won't be individual investment opportunities where you can get ridiculously wealthy. I'm just saying, the advent of a brand new asset class here and then jumping on board early, this has never happened. There's never been an investment vehicle that has changed so many people's lives for the better than crypto. Like, this has never happened before. And it's up to you to make it work. You have to be smart about it, and you have to actually invest real money. You have to actually be patient. You have to actually diversify your portfolio and not invest in a bunch of stupid stuff that will obviously ultimately go to zero. But if you're sticking to the stuff that the market's vetted and is ranking high in market cap, you got a pretty damn good shot. Regular people like you and me, because I'm just a regular dude. I made this work. I've been here in 2017, and my God, it has absolutely transformed my life. My net worth is way higher than it would be at this stage of my life if I hadn't jumped into crypto. I'm doing it. It does work. There is no secret. I have nothing to sell you. I'm telling you that you listening to this absolutely can. You can do this. And XRP is a great piece of that puzzle. I don't think that, it makes sense to only hold one coin, and I don't. XRP happens to be my largest holding, but yeah, it's a key piece of this, obviously. Even if you buy it at the wrong time, actually. So here's a post from chart analyst Techdev. He shared this with his 535,000 followers. And he wrote, fun fact. If the only investing you ever did was to buy one Bitcoin at each cycle top, you'd be ridiculed, but your $90,000 would have a 420% return and be worth $470,000. And so that's the funny thing about this. Even if you're timing wise, you're the most unfortunate investor on the planet and you only buy at the top of each cycle, fast forward 20 years and whatever you invested is going to be worth a fortune compared to what it is right now. Assuming you picked long-term winners, like obviously XRP is one of them. They couldn't be more obvious that XRP is a long-term winner. So even if you were so unfortunate to purchase the top, like some people did in 2017 into early 2018, look at where we are now. We're already back there, and now the market's about to go blasty blast, my friends. And it would look, XRP would be way higher in price today than it is right now, if not for the SEC. But hey, it is what it is. We can't control that, and the opportunity's still there. The market is correcting the problem, obviously. Once XRP ended up in what is effectively an even playing field, did you notice that it just started going berserk? Like, once you had the Trump administration get elected, that's all it took. And the war on crypto is over. How's it performing now? Pretty damn good, right? Exactly. Here's a post from somebody named Jonah, and I had seen this screen grab before. It's from a book. He didn't say what the name of the book is, and I don't remember here. But here, this page from the book, I guess it's the title of a chapter. It says, the best investors in the world are really good at doing nothing for long periods of time. Folks, that is exactly what I keep telling you. That is what I'm doing. I am so good at doing nothing. I'm so good at doing absolutely nothing. I buy something, and then I do precisely nothing for years and years and years on end. And you know what? Now my crypto's worth a fucking fortune compared to what I put in. It absolutely is. And I say that subjectively. Doesn't mean that everybody on the planet would be terribly impressed with what I have, but to me, it's incredible. And I couldn't be more excited about what I have right here. And it took a long time. It took a lot of waiting here, but it does just work. It's just work. That really is literally just it. But people have a really hard time with doing nothing. They feel like they need to tinker and they get impatient. And then this thing's not going, so I'm going to sell because the other thing's going. No, that's how you wreck yourself. And so I'll speak for myself here. I think that's stupid to be timing markets and getting in and out of positions. And so what I've decided to do is, after I buy something, like I said, I just hold on to it. I have never sold a single XRP, and I have never cashed out any of my crypto to United States dollars. Never. Never, never, never. Because I believed in 2017, I was like, look, if I'm right about this and crypto is truly here to stay, it's going to be here in 100 years. And if I'm wrong, we find out soon. But either way, I'm not, what I told myself is I am not willing to sell if it's not life-changing wealth. Because I already had what my investments, with the stock market for, regular retirement. And I set myself up in such a way that even if my crypto went to zero, I'd still be fine. Retirement comes, it's fine. But then I had my crypto and I was like, I really believed in it, of course. And so I was like, I'm just going to hold this because if I'm right, this will persist. And it doesn't matter if I have to wait years and if it goes down 80, 90% of times, which I've gone through. If I'm right, then it just ultimately trends upward. And so that's why I was like, I'm not going to sell. Even last cycle. Now, last cycle, I would have sold, I'm sure, if not for the nonsense that happened with the SEC, because XRP obviously would have hit a new all-time high, and then I would have been enticed. That is the thing that made it a little bit different than it otherwise would have been for me, so I had to wait several extra years. It sucks. Again, can't control it. I just feel thrilled and so thankful that I came across crypto when I did. And then I spent the last few years just investing more in crypto and diversifying. So I haven't bought XRP since 2020, but I went so crazy buying it. Like, I bought what most people would say is a completely irrational amount of XRP. And I just did it, and I felt happy about it, and I do not regret it still. But I spent the last several years only buying other stuff, and XRP is still my largest holding despite all those years of purchasing other stuff. XRP is making up about half of my crypto portfolio at this moment in time. That's how much I bought. And obviously, a lot of that has to do with the fact that XRP's been ran like crazy, in November and hit a new all-time high, and it's just been consolidating. But still, there's so much opportunity. And so anyway, Salsa Tequila, another popular analyst here with 220,000 followers, he reposted that. And he said, I'm bad at doing nothing. And folks, I appreciate his honesty here. And I'm telling you, that's true for so many people, probably most people when it comes to investing. They're really bad at doing nothing. If something's going down or something's not performing, they see other stuff performing. I need to take action. That's the idea that comes in people's head, and I get it. That's the wrong idea. That's my belief. You do whatever you want. If you think that you're going to tinker with it and you're going to be a wizard and you're going to be smarter than everybody else and you know better than the sum knowledge of everybody else that's invested, which is the reason that coins are ranked the way they are in terms of market cap. If you think you can beat all that, then you go ahead. You have a killer time out there. But I know you're ultimately going to make a lot less money than somebody like me who just buys and does nothing. Like, that's what the data shows. It's true in the stock market also. The people that do nothing, they're the ones that win. You just live through it. And so he said, I'm bad at doing nothing. If there's one lesson I've learned in the past decade of crypto, it's that I would be multiples richer if I'd done literally nothing since 2013. But I sold almost all my stack at $3,000 in 2017, and then again at $6,000 in 2020. Comical, really. And look, there's nothing wrong with selling. Like, once it's life-changing, if you want to sell it, then I'll do that. I'll sell when it's life-changing here. But I do believe, so like, to be very clear here, I believe that if I just didn't sell my XRP this cycle and then I waited another 10 or 20 years, it would be worth way, way, way more. But what I'm going to do is still achieve the life-changing wealth. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to take that life-changing wealth and I can invest it in other stuff that won't grow as fast over the next 20 years as XRP. But I want to diversify. I cannot justify, and I won't sleep easily knowing that like 99% of my net worth is XRP. No, I'm not doing that. Sorry guys, not doing that. Even though I think that probably that would be best for me, I can't afford the risk in case I'm wrong. And that's the justification for that. So there's nothing wrong with selling. Like, I'm going to sell. All I'm saying is I refuse to until it absolutely is life-changing. And with how high XRP is probably going to go this cycle, I'm anticipating I'm not going to have to wait that much longer. I've waited plenty long, and I know that's true for so many of you listening. So many of you have been hanging right there with me in the trenches. As you know, we're the XRP community. We've been through some stuff, and we're out from the worst of it, obviously. But so many of you I know have been through this right along there with me, and we're finally going to get ours, and we get it by doing nothing. This really is the biggest financial opportunity of our lifetimes. Like, I firmly believe that. And here's a post from chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto. He said altcoins rally for the next 3 to 4 weeks probably. And so he's showing a market cap, a Bitcoin dominance percentage chart. And it's actually lower than, it's gone down a bit since he posted this. This is in the morning yesterday. It got down to, I was checking it just a few hours ago, and it was 63.7%, something like that. So it's trending the right way. I hope it keeps doing that. I also mentioned in my last video, but worth repeating here, that the others chart, which is the top 125 coins, excluding the top 10 coins by market cap, so it gets you a good picture of what's happening with the major altcoins. The dominance for the others chart is increasing at the time the Bitcoin dominance is decreasing, and it's doing it on a curve that looks like if it keeps going, it'll be like a parabolic curve effectively. And chart analyst Dom was pointing that part out. And that's what you want to see. So let's watch and make sure that it continues. But because, it's not like a ton of percentage points that Bitcoin dominance has fallen, but this is what you hope to expect to happen at this juncture in time, at this point in the cycle. The confluence of everything. It's amazing. It's really come together. I would just be shocked if we don't have a ridiculous face melting rally for XRP. And I think altcoins, broadly speaking, are going to do absolutely fantastic. Doesn't mean that most of them will hit new all-time highs, but the whole market's going to go berserk. It absolutely will. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Insight UK, and this adds some perspective here. And mind you, perspective here is that this is coming from me. Having been here since 2017, most of the time that I've held XRP, it's been like 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 cents on the high end for most of the last 7.5 years. So to see XRP flirting with $3 again, and knowing that it hit $3.40 as a new all-time high this year, that's astonishing to me. That just it feels incredible. It's a bit surreal. It's like, yeah, I really was right. And I really had to stick it out, as many of you have as well. But we were right, guys. We were right. We deserve to celebrate. And the cool thing is, the best part is yet ahead here. Even so, there are some people who are just, sticks in mud. And so here's what Crypto Insight UK said. You know what's mad? The fact XRP moved from 55 cents in November up to the range we're in now. Then yes, it chopped about. But in the last 5 days, it's up nearly 30%, and people are still moaning. I don't know what to say sometimes. Isn't that true? It wasn't long ago XRP was like $1.93. Here, let's look. Was it within the last 30 days? I looked this up the other day. Now I've forgotten already. Yeah. $1.91. Okay, so look at that. Less than a month ago. $1.91. And then it exceeded $3 the other day. That's a massive increase. That's close to a 50% increase, actually. That's massive. And people are still bitching. Everything's relative, though. Maybe it's the people that are brand new that are bitching. I don't know. I just feel like anybody that's been here for a few years is probably floating on a cloud, like I am. I certainly am. Here's a post from the blockchain backer sharing his most recent video from yesterday. He said, looking ahead to parabolic phase for XRP price chart, Bitcoin and altcoin market after backtest. I'm sure many of you have checked out his video. If you haven't, definitely worth checking out. He consistently puts out top shelf content. But he noted that what's happening here with Bitcoin, because of course, as you know, it hit $123,000 the other day, new all-time high. And then it went back down to like 116,000-ish. And he just noted, this is just a backtest. That's all that's happened, but this is a legitimate breakout. And so the backtest that we're seeing now, he actually predicted that this would happen, because normally that's what happens in situations that are contextually similar. And so, he even said, not that he was predicting this, but he said it could even go down it would be normal, in fact, if it went down to $112,000. Not that it has to go that low. But still, what comes next? He made it very clear. He firmly believes what's next is that Bitcoin goes parabolic for that final run and altcoins take off. And there's lots of confluence for various metrics that would indicate, yes, absolutely, that is most probable. He still firmly believes that's the case, and he thinks XRP, it could get up to, low double digits, a little over $10. Which is one of the more conservative price predictions out there. He could be right, though. Sometimes the conservative ones are. But even that would just be kind of wild, considering that the low for this cycle was June 2022 when XRP hit 28 cents. That would still be a pretty damn massive run, even if it only went to $10. But there's a good chance. Most analysts think it's going higher than that, honestly. Most analysts that I follow do think it's going at least a little higher, even if it's just 15 or $20. So, take it for what it's worth. There are extremes, like I've said before. Out of all the analysts that I follow, they've all got great track records. Nobody's perfect, and nobody gets everything right. But you have the more conservative price estimates, the $8 to $10 range, and then you have some of the ones that are higher, like 30, 40, even $50. I start to think that gets way too out there. I am not confident that stuff's going to happen at all. And so I suspect that the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. That would be my suspicion. I don't know if that means 15, 20, $25. I don't know. My guess would be somewhere in the middle. That is probably correct, but I don't know, and I'm not so bold as to make an actual price prediction. I admit, I straight up don't know. But just usually when a group of good analysts has this broader range of expectations, I just find that usually the truth is somewhere in the middle. And by the way, as far as this correction, I'll mention this too, Credible Crypto, and I shared it in my last video. He does expect, he's kind of in line with the blockchain backer here. He thinks that Bitcoin's probably just going to chop about, probably just for like a few days or so. He thinks that structurally, like that's just something that would be absolutely the norms, and then it's going to continue up. Dips are going to be shallow. This is what I keep seeing from every analyst that talks about it. Pullbacks are going to be shallow until you get up to the point where we reach that parabolic peak, and then the bubble is fully inflated at that point, and it pops, and then obviously you trend back downwards, and we're going to be in a bear market. But until then, shallow pullbacks. And as soon as we do see those alarm bells ringing, top indicators coming in, I will be telling you about them. We're just not seeing them yet. Here's a post from chart analyst Steph is Crypto. He said, send XRP much higher. And he shows this trend line going back a couple years, noting that even if it just bumps up against this, you're still looking at double-digit price action for XRP. That would get you closer to that $10 to $11 range. So I'll not be surprised if that's what happens. If you get into that double-digit price action, I will not be the least bit surprised. Here's a post from chart analyst Pintoshi, one of the most well-known and respected analysts in the space, 871,000 followers on X, in fact. And this is a post from July 9th. And I shared this with you, but there's a follow-up from him, so I'm going to share both in case anybody missed this. So again, this is from July 9th, and XRP at the time, I think is like low 230. Hold on, let me go to this. July. Yeah, here's the 7-day chart. So on the 9th, it looks like it was as low as $2.32 roughly. Think about that. That was just a week ago. XRP was $2.32 a week ago. As I record this now, it's $2.93. So anyway, $2.32. That's where it was when he shared this post on your screen here. He says XRP looks disgustingly good, even on the Bitcoin pair, to be honest. Think this is going to flip, he says, think this is going to $2.60 minimum. Flip that, then the highs are back on the table. Also one with quite a few tailwinds and held up very well for the past several months. Well, ain't that the truth? And so he's one of the analysts, many analysts that I followed that said, guys, this is the moment where things are heating up. Do you remember this is literally a week ago, and I was talking about this. And I was highlighting example after example after example of all these analysts saying, guys, this is like pretty much the moment. And then wouldn't you know it, they were absolutely correct, and the whole market picked up, including XRP. That is what happened. And so many analysts were citing this level of $2.60, and we just flew past it, obviously. Just wait, though. The real fun part starts after we break that all-time high again of $3.40 and enter price discovery. That's what we're really waiting for. But still, this is a big one. And so he was correct about this. And then he shared this post just last night in the evening. XRP USD chart on your screen here, and he says, XRP to $5.89 isn't even a meme at this point. It's not even a 2x. What if? And so he's thinking here, obviously, even in the short term, XRP, well, that's not quite doubling, but still, being, because when he posted this, XRP was $3.01. It's just, that's a price that everyone in our community was dreaming XRP would one day get to, and now it just feels so easily attainable. It feels so within reach. And it's a feeling I'm not used to, but it's great. I really like it, and I expected it. I expected one day it would come. I just didn't know for sure when, and here we are. It's opportunity of a lifetime, folks. It really, truly is. Just don't squander this. And the best way to not squander it is, again, it's just have broad exposure to the markets. I think XRP should absolutely be a piece of that. You make your own decision. If you don't think that makes sense, then don't buy it. I'm not telling you what to do. I don't know what's best for you, but I think it makes sense. And then just doing that, and then just holding, just waiting. That's it. Not tinkering with positions. That really is it. Take a look at this. Here is a headline from the Crypto Basic. It says, a veteran trader shares how high XRP could go this cycle if Bitcoin doubles from here. And this is not an analyst I'm familiar with, but I still found it interesting because I like to see perspectives from chart analysts. And so this guy's been here since 2011. So he's here basically from the beginning of crypto. He's got 144,000 followers on X. His name's Profit Mana. And here's what he's targeting for Bitcoin. And it's pretty wild. Like, I'm kind of skeptical of this one, but I acknowledge it's in reality. He thinks that Bitcoin could 2x from here. So when he posts this, it was the 13th. So let me take a look here. What was the 13th? So, okay, $117,000 to $118,000. So about where we are right now. Okay. So you're looking at, let's just say for easy math, somewhere in the neighborhood of Bitcoin peaking somewhere around $235,000. I don't think that's impossible. I am not counting on that happening. I am not counting on that getting even close to that. Now, if it does, that's where, okay, if it does get that high, I will say this. That's where, to me, it opens up the doors for XRP getting into Looney Tunes land. Like, over $30, $40, upwards of $50. If you're talking about Bitcoin getting that high, the amount of money that will rotate into altcoins like XRP, then I'm like, okay, fine. But I'm not counting on that happening. Now, if it does, fine. Then you'll hear me change my tune. Because I'll just be like, okay, well, I mean, if it's gone this high, then let's see what happens with XRP. I think it's going to ridiculously melt faces even more severely than we thought. And he thinks Ethereum is going to do a 4x. I'd put it around $12,000. So that would put XRP at like what, 22? I think $22 or so, $23, something like that. If XRP equals the market cap of Ethereum, like think about that. And that's not a crazy expectation. Ethereum hitting $12,000. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that doesn't sound crazy to me. XRP, he's predicting a solid 5-fold increase from here. And so on the 13th, let's just see what that was. Where were we? Okay, so it was about 2. Okay, wow. So you'd be looking at somewhere around like $11, right? Or no, he said 5. He said 5, right? So okay, so maybe closer to like what, like $13, $14, something like that. Yeah, so yeah, probably somewhere around there. Just doing quick math in that. That's probably about right. Like, that's a normal prediction though. Like, there's nothing. I don't know if these guys are right. Like, and nobody. Let's be real. Like, nobody knows for sure. But that doesn't sound crazy, folks. Like, just knowing what happens in crypto, it does, and knowing the market's not overheated right now, and we're already at these prices, it just doesn't seem crazy. So, like, the more things that unfold, the clearer the picture gets. And so, if at some point it does make sense to believe that XRP is going to go higher, then I'll talk about that. It's just we need to see certain things develop. And right now, I will just say, again, let me repeat it, the market's not overheated right now. And with us being at these prices, XRP not far from $3, Bitcoin at $118,000 and the market's not overheated, Ethereum at $3,000, the market's not overheated. Well, if it goes a good bit higher before we start to see some of those top signals, then yeah, I'll start to be more confident that we're going to go a bit higher than what my gut was telling me was most probable, which could happen. We'll see. Or we start seeing top indicators coming in sooner than later, and then it's just going to be what it'll be. But either way, it's going to be extreme compared to where prices are right now. I mean, I would absolutely count on that. So just please don't squander this. I'm telling you guys, this is the only opportunity that regular people like us are going to have in our lives for something like this. Not that you can accumulate wealth. I don't mean that in some sort of negative way. Like, you can go out there and you can be responsible and put money away and invest in the stock market for decades and become a multimillionaire. There's lots of ways to do it. You can start a business providing goods and or services. And you can be very successful. There's so much opportunity in this world. There's so many ways to make money. I'm just saying, if you're talking about investing and getting life-changing wealth in short order, like, this is it. Don't squander it. It's not going to happen again in our lives. It really isn't. But you can literally make the kind of wealth that would take in the stock market like 3 or 4 decades. You can make that inside of like 5, 6, 7 years. Like, that's true. Like, and in terms of the multiple, like, that's what's been true for me in terms of the percentage gains. And we ain't done, folks. I mean, think about it. It's investing in the stock market. Every 7 to 10 years, your whatever you have invested, it'll roughly double on average. Well, that can happen on like a Tuesday here. You know what I mean? So don't squander this. It doesn't mean you have to have balls of steel. Like, you cannot be the type to get fearful and capitulate, or you just won't make it. And that's why so many people don't make it. It's a big part of it. But you do have the opportunity. You should be an optimist here. Don't be a defeatist. This is something that can happen to you. You're a regular person. I'm a regular person. I'm telling you it's real. I have nothing to sell you. Like, you just can do it. If you just want to be rich, you just do it. You just put in the money, and then you become rich. You get broad exposure, and then you let time do the heavy lifting. That's the truth. That is it. Most people just won't say it like that. They want to sell you courses and do this and that, and they tell you, oh, you got to pick the right stuff, but then you got to change. If this thing's not going, then sell it, and then jump in the other thing. No, it's stupid crap. Don't listen to people like that. Don't listen to anybody that tells you that shit. You buy stuff, and then you wait. And maybe some of the stuff you buy, it does go to zero. But if you have enough diversification, it's not going to matter. If you invest in like a ton of coins, even if just a few of them really, really work out, that's more than going to offset the losses, and it wouldn't matter. Do you see what I'm saying? This is why it makes sense to buy the top coins and then watch what comes into the top, and you can continue to do it. I'm just saying. This is not a joke, folks. Like, this is the real deal here. And I just hope that so many of you get, like, there are some new people jumping in. It's part of the reason I wanted to make a video talking like this. I don't normally make videos quite like this, but I just thought there's so many, there are new, like, not like the crazy masses here yet. That's coming. But there are new people jumping in. I hope everybody understands this. Do not ruin this opportunity. This is legitimately our biggest opportunity for life-changing wealth. It is real. And this thing's about to go absolutely nuts. This low price here of $2.93 for XRP ain't going to be here forever. This thing's going to go parabolic and melt faces. That is my conviction. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and it goes to zero maybe, then I'll be a sad panda. That's possible. But my conviction is what it is. I think it's going to the damn moon, son. That's what's happening. Lambo on the moon. That's what we've been waiting here for, right? You guys can tell me what your expectations are. Those are mine, broadly speaking. It's only going to get better until the bubble pops and then, you know, draw down of 80%. But even then, that's not going to be the end of the world, because then we get to buy, and with the new money we make, and do it all over again, which I'm going to do. I'm going to keep running this YouTube channel as long as people listen. Because I love it. Like, to me, this is the most fun hobby I've ever had. I just love this stuff. For whatever reason, crypto just grabbed me, and it's consistently grabbed me for 7.5 years now. So I'm going to do it all over again. As long as people want to hang out, I'll keep running the channel, but I'm going to build a portfolio. We can talk about that too. Make it very diverse, XRP obviously being a key part of it, and then just do it all over again. That's my plan, roughly speaking. I'm going to do it. Hell yeah. Because the opportunity won't be over after this cycle. Oh, so much to look forward to. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.